Hi, everybody. Good morning to you. This is John Brackett with Fidelity Business Partners, also the host of We Build Great Apartment Communities, a podcast and a show that we get out to be able to educate and inform our audiences around multifamily investing. So this week, we're going to start something a little different. We're going to start answering the many questions that we get, through the different mediums that we have around multifamily investing. And so here's a question that I thought was great, very relevant, especially considering what we're going through right now in this COVID market. And so the question is this: how do you select a market to purchase in, right? And the question is specific to apartment buildings. How do we select, or how do I select a market to make an investment in this case, our team? So I'm going to talk a little bit about this, because one of the common response that I get to that is job growth, population growth, and an inexpensive cost of living. And, when you think about that intuitively, it makes a lot of sense, right? When you have markets that are growing with low cost, incomes are higher, and consequently, you're going to have a greater propensity to increase rents, right? Or rent growth. Now, the way that we approach that, and the way that I guide my teams to doing that, and we look for opportunity, is we look really at net exports, okay? And so I want to say that again, is net exports, right? What are we manufacturing here in the United States and selling a lot of to foreign countries? And the reason why that's really important is because we need net exports in this country to be able to bring cash back in, right? So consequently, when you have product and resources that are being sold overseas, it's going to be very stable, okay? Or a lot more stable than other products where we're not exporting to different countries. And the reason for that is, as a country, we need that to be able to create sustainable long-term jobs. And inside of that, we have sustainable long-term growth within specific markets, right? So the way that I answer that and the way that we approach that is we back into that question by looking at the top 10 net exports in the United States, and then taking that information and now narrowing that down based on what those products are, and finding products with I don't want to say the least amount of risk, but that are more stable long-term, because it's going to create, you're going to have companies that are manufacturing those products irrespective of what's going on in the markets. Like now with COVID, they're still very consistent because those exports are in greater demand, right? So just like in anything else, we're going to have products that are going to be in more demand than others, especially when you're exporting them overseas. And so that's how I approach markets that we select. Is I look at the top 10, net exports here in this country, and then back into that based on, net exports that I think have less risk, because there's just they're more stable. So consequently, stable employment. And then we'll back into that and figure out where are those manufacturers located? And then, or where do we have the highest concentration of that type of manufacturer? And then I'll look for, little niches inside of that, right? And so hopefully that gives you some context. So, hey, John Quinn, great question. John Brackett, Fidelity Business Partners. If you have any other questions, feel free to link in with me on LinkedIn. You can also send us an email at podcast@fidelitybps.com. If you have an interest in being a guest on our show, take a look at the comments below. There's a link for you to apply, and then also, become a guest on the show. And then, lastly, if you have an interest in partnering, whether you have an opportunity that you want to sell, or you're someone looking to venture and co-partner on a particular project, feel free to reach out to me as well. And the best way to do that is on LinkedIn. Message me on LinkedIn. And again, my name is John Brackett. Look forward to connecting with you. You can also schedule a time to speak with me there below for the purpose of partnering, meaning you have a product to sell, an apartment building that you have an interest in selling, or you're interested in discussing about an opportunity for venture. Again, I'm John Brackett. Appreciate the questions, and I will talk to you soon, right?